Good morning. Let's begin today's service by singing Winds Be Still together. It's a beautiful, beautiful hymn. Winds be still, storm clouds pass and silence calm. Peace grace this time with harmony. Fly, bird of hope, and shine, light of love, and in calm let all find tranquility. Bird, fly high, lift our gaze toward distant view, help us to sense life's mystery. Fly high and far, and lead us each to see how we move through the winds of eternity. Light shine in, illuminate our inward view, help us to see with clarity. Shine bright and true, so we may join our songs in new sounds that become full symphony.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so happy to be speaking to everyone who's joined us online today. UU St. Pete is continuing online services as our country and our state stumbles through the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm John Motter, a member here, and also on the worship committee. Our minister, Reverend Jack Donovan, has the day off, so the worship committee is in charge of today's service. Today we'll carry on the theme, Still Church. If you've watched last week's absolutely wonderful service, you'll find a lot of parallels to this morning. Many of the same thoughts, but from a slightly different perspective. The church is much more than just the physical structure here on Mirror Lake. But I'm sure that many of you are missing seeing it every week. That's why we chose to film most of the service from different parts of the church. May the sight of the physical church help you in sustaining your spiritual well-being during these strange times. I'll be joined today by Ruth Bentley, Mary Neal Jones, Janae Johnson, our music director John Arterton, and his husband James Mack. By the way, without James Mack, you wouldn't be seeing us this morning. He handles all the video editing and behind the scenes stuff to get us up on YouTube. So with that, whoever you are, wherever you have joined us, you are welcome here.
Good morning. I'm Mary Neal Jones, and I'm a grateful member of this church. Welcome to our Sunday morning service and the opportunity for us all to be together. I'll light our chalice, symbolizing our devotion to light and the communion of our community with all living things. Please join me at home to share the words of our covenant. I have to warn you, I say these words slowly and with probably a lot more space than most of you. They have a resonance for me because I can say each word wholeheartedly, and that hasn't ever been the case before this church. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. I'll turn it over now to Janae, who heads our religious education department here at UUSB, and she does that with grace and an amazing sense of adventure. She always has a wonderful story for Time for All Ages, and I always look forward to it. Janae?
Good morning. My name is Janae Johnson, and I am the Religious Education and Communications Coordinator here at Unitarian Universalist Church of St. Pete. Today I will be sharing the story for all ages. This story is called Carrying a Sack of Grain, adapted from a Serbian tale by Laura Sims. There was a king who took his daughter on a luxury ship across the Black Sea. The ship was destroyed in a storm, and they found themselves washed ashore in a distant country. They had nothing but a now ragged clothing on their backs. So the king found work. He had no skills, so he carried a sack of grain from the port to a market all day, every day, until his ability at problem solving gave him the resourcefulness to gain his own shop. Everyone loved the grain merchant shop. It was well run, and he always was available to help solve disputes. His daughter was graceful and hospitable. She too worked with care and an open ear. In fact, the king, who had become a merchant, began to feel content. He had never known the people whom he had ruled, nor enjoyed the details and challenges of caring for his own life. So when he could afford to send a messenger to his own kingdom and heard that his oldest son was ruling in his place, he happily remained in his new country. The prince of that country was seeking a bride. He saw the merchant's daughter and was so impressed with the beauty of her spirit and elegance of her actions, he told his father that he would marry no one else. Finally persuaded that his son would only wed the merchant's daughter, the king sent his vizier to ask for her hand. The merchant asked, "What skill does a prince have other than ruling a kingdom and going to war?" The vizier said, "He's good at archery, dancing, making war, protocol, rulership, and solving disputes." "Very good for a king," agreed the merchant. "But if he has no ordinary skills, what will he do if the kingdom should be destroyed?" The prince decided to learn an ordinary skill. He apprenticed himself to a carpet weaver for 2 years. He learned to make carpets and to buy and sell in the market. Then he returned to the merchant, who agreed to marry him to his daughter. After the wedding, the merchant asked to speak. He revealed his history and the fact that the prince had married a true princess. When he asked why he insisted that the prince have a skill, he answered, "Until I had lost what I had, I did not know how to truly rule myself and gain contentment. And this contentment, born of a skill, has finally taught me how to serve myself and others as a true human being." Thank you.
I'm Ruth Bentley, a member of this church, mother of 4 wonderful Mater sons, and a retired teacher. Today's first reading is entitled, "The Church Has Left the Building," by Reverend Margaret Weiss, a lifelong UU. The church is not a place, it is a people. The church is not only a steeple above the tree-lined streets and cars, rather it is a people proclaiming to the world that we are here for the work of healing and of justice. The church is not walls built stone upon stone, held together by mortar, but rather person, linked with person, linked with person, all ages and genders and abilities, a community built on the foundation of reason, faith, and love. The church is not just a set of doors open on Sunday morning, but the commitment day after day and moment after moment of our hearts creaking open the doors of welcome to the possibility of new experience and radical welcome. The church is not simply a building, a steeple, a pew. The church is the gathering together of all the people and experiences and fear and love and hope in our resilient hearts, gathering however we can to say to the world, welcome, come in, Lay down your heartache and pick up hope and love. For the church is us, each and every one of us, together, a beacon of hope to this world that so sorely needs it. I'll turn it back over to Mary for some announcements.
Thank you, Ruth. UUSP has many virtual activities, so many going on throughout the month. Please check us out at our newly revamped website, uustpete.org. That's UUSTPETE.org. Also check your email for the weekly InfoNet that has updates and lots of information on everything going on. I'd like to remind everyone that next weekend is a Share the Plate weekend benefiting Social Justice's UU's Helping People subcommittee. The Friday night picnic, which continues to serve over 80 people each week, the Tiny Homes for Homeless Veterans Project, and UUHP's support of other homeless service providers has become even more important during the pandemic. So please keep our work in mind as you make next week's donation. You can join Barbara and Tom Archibald on Monday, August 17th at 7 p.m. for our Cooking from Diverse Cultures series. They will host a discussion of the China Silk Road, over which Buddhism came into China around 200 BCE. Sorry about that. Bring your noodles and chopsticks while we think about living on the route like the tiny Uyghur minority in the world's most populated and homogeneous country.
Joys and Concerns is a time that people would normally come to the front of the church and share any joys or concerns that they may have. If you didn't get the opportunity to forward your message to Pastor Jack, then feel free to type it into the comments section on YouTube. First, I put a stone in the water for Harry Sowers, who wanted to share a couple of joys. He and wife Amy celebrated their 24th wedding anniversary at the beginning of August. Also, their sons will be attending college this fall. The family is healthy and happy, despite the pandemic. His concern comes with the hope that everyone stays healthy through the duration of the pandemic. I also want to send warmth and positive energy to the people of Baruch. Many people lost their lives, homes, and businesses in the senseless explosion of stored ammonium nitrate. Hundreds were killed, over 1,000 were hospitalized, and 250,000 were displaced. Also, the port's destroyed silos held 85% of the country's grain.
Although the church's activities and services have gone virtual, the expenses of the physical structure remain. Your pledges and contributions are necessary to continue our programs and maintain the church until we can safely congregate again in person. As you listen to the offertory music, please click on the eye in the upper right-hand corner of your screen and make a contribution. You can also donate through the Give Plus app, our webpage, or by mailing a check to the office. Thank you in advance for your caring generosity. I remember meeting, still in person, with my therapist shortly after the board decided that we would hold virtual services in order to protect all of us. Peter asked how I thought life would be over the next several months. I replied that I expected the changes to last much longer than several months and that we'd need to be flexible as we moved forward. There was much more that we didn't know about the illness than what we did know. After further talk, he commented that he thought I had a realistic outlook that was in line with what he was hearing through his work at Baycare and through his brother, an infectious disease doctor in New York City. He felt that I was in good shape for handling what was to come. Little did he know that I was stopping by Publix on the way home to do some much-needed grocery shopping. That calm, realistic outlook quickly flew out the window when I entered the store. Seeing the empty coolers and shelves throughout the store left me so unsettled. Had we really become the fictional stereotypes portrayed in the post-apocalyptic movies churned out by Hollywood? After checking out from the store, loading the groceries into the car, and then doing the now routine disinfecting of all things before demasking myself, I started the car and headed home. I broke down into what can best be described as an ugly cry. I didn't know what would happen to us. My mistrust of our government to handle the COVID-19 was only exasperated by the comments my therapist passed on from his brother. So here we are, 5.5 months later. What's changed? Infections and deaths have not really gone down and are often still rising. We are still having to shelter in place. We still are watching church on YouTube, doing coffee hour by Zoom, masking up when we go outside, missing weddings, birthdays, deaths, anniversary. The list could go on and on. Still church. Is that a statement or a question? For many, it is a statement, but I know for many others, it's a question, and that answer might be leaning towards no. If you're introverted, without internet, live alone, or new to the congregation, then you may not feel that you're part of church. So I ask everyone, how can we change that? About a month ago, I posted on the UUSP members Facebook page about how to stay connected. 63 of you saw that post, and 17 of you took the initiative to comment on it. But we have nearly 200 members of the church, so I think it deserves a bit more attention. The gist of my message is this: if you are questioning whether or not it's still church, then it's imperative that you reach out and let someone know. Or if you're making a statement that indeed it is still church, then it's imperative that you reach out to those that may need some attention. I suffer from depression and can also be surprisingly introverted, so I understand how difficult it may be to reach out to others in the congregation. But my hope is that you can at least find the strength within yourself to call or email Pastor Jack or Patty Hanks, head of the care committee, and let them know you're feeling, what you might need, or how you are hurting. I can't imagine a single person in our congregation that wouldn't want to help in any way that they safely can. Now, for those of us that can say, yes, it's still church, what makes it still church? I'm guessing answers include participating in coffee hour, the walk and wave events, reading group, covenant groups, or socially distanced visits in someone's backyard or on their front porch. I know these are things that I've done, but I also know that they weren't things that I was necessarily excited about at first. In pushing myself to be a bit more extroverted, I've actually strengthened my connection to the church. Coffee hour is a great example. When we were physically meeting in Gilmore, I tended to be a bit of a wallflower. It's difficult for me to be in a room full of people and have to approach someone and strike up a conversation. Now, with virtual coffee hour, we each get a chance to share what's been happening in our lives. I actually know people better now. I know about their triumphs and their troubles. I hosted a Cooking from Diverse Cultures Zoom in which I talked about my visit to Rwanda and the beauty of the silverbacks and the tragedy of the genocide. Doing it while eating mandazi, fried dough, what could be better than that, made it feel more welcoming. Bottom line is, I feel more connected to the church now. So here's my challenge and my call to action for everyone. I want each of you to think about who you saw at church each week. It shouldn't be too hard. You know we're all creatures of habit and sat in roughly the same spots. Who are you greeting at the beginning of the service? Who sat behind you, beside you, in front of you, next to you? Have you seen them in coffee hour? Have you talked to them since we've gone virtual? Who from church lives alone? Who's older? Who has health issues? Make that list. It doesn't have to be long. Make it 2 to 5 people, and then sometime in the next week, reach out at least to one of them. You can get their number, email, or address from the directory online. And then, this is always the hardest part, contact them. What would it mean to get an unexpected phone call or a card in the mail? It would mean a lot, I'm sure. The best thing is that it would mean a lot to you as well. So I ask, still church? My answer, yes, indeed, still church.
Reverend Deborah Hafner of the UU Church in Reston, Virginia, provides our second reading entitled, Wherever We Are, Love Is. The words were written on the day Heather Heyer was killed, when a cowardly white supremacist rammed his car into counter-protesters at the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, Virginia. It's equally relevant 3 years later. As we enter another week of uncertainty in the world, let us remember that there is only one side, that of humanity and planet Earth. May we pray for peace. May we raise our voices with our elected officials and engage as we can in acts of resistance. And may we remember to take very good care of ourselves, each other, and those we love. May we remember these words adapted from the Unity Prayer. The light of love surrounds us. Love enfolds us. The power of love protects us. Love watches over us. Wherever we are, love is. Ruth Bentley will now lead us in extinguishing the chalice.
As I extinguish our chalice, please join me with the words reminding us of how we make new light to life. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of love, or the fire of courage. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world.
As you can probably recognize, our closing will come from Gilmore Hall. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Prior to my final words, I'd like to invite you to our Zoom coffee hour starting right after the service ends. The Zoom room number is 827-799-4105, and the password is UUSP in lowercase. It will also be listed on the screen following the final song by John and James. But first, these words by Reverend Jim McGaw of the UU Church of South Hills in Pittsburgh. When I say go in peace, I don't mean go in mindless oblivion. When I say go in peace, I don't mean go without challenging yourself or others. When I say go in peace, I don't mean go in utter ease and comfort. When I say go in peace, I mean go in peace seeking justice. I mean go in peace committed to equal rights and the opportunities for all. When I say go in peace, I mean go in the peace that is created when together we build communities of true solidarity, deep compassion, and fierce, unrelenting love. Now may you go in peace.
So many things we can't control.
So many hurts that happen every day.
So many heartaches that pierce the soul.
So much pain that won't ever go away.
How do we make it better? How do we make it through? What can we do when there's nothing we can do? We can be kind. We can take care of each other. We can remember that deep down inside we all need the same thing. And maybe we'll find if we are there for each other, that together we'll weather whatever tomorrow may bring. Nobody really wants to fight.
Nobody really wants to go to war.
If everyone wants to make things right,
Then what are we always fighting for?
does nobody want to see it? Does nobody understand? The power to heal is right here in our hand. We can be kind. We can take care of each other. We can remember that deep down inside we all need the same thing. And maybe we'll find if we are there for each other, that together we'll weather whatever tomorrow may bring. And it's not enough to talk about it.
Not enough to sing a song.
We must walk the walk about it. You and I, do or die. We've got to try to get along. We can be kind. We can take care of each other. We can remember that deep down inside we all need the same thing. And maybe we'll find if we are there for each other, that together we'll weather whatever tomorrow may bring. And maybe we'll find true peace of mind if we always remember